Calgary real estate continues to smash through all expectations set by a lot of people. A lot of people imagined in 2022, when interest rates were increasing, Calgary real estate was going to decrease. Well, 2023, we saw record years. In the second half of 2023, we saw stabilization. Look at January to February. Look at that increase in price point. We absolutely blew past what people were thought was going to be the high end of this market. I am pretty sure that we're going to set some absolute crazy records in 2024 going into 2025. Let's get into it. My name's Adam Fyfe, your Calgary Realtor. If you're looking at getting into the market, I say it every month, it is so important that you set up a game plan well in advance. If you're looking at getting into the market in the summer, now is the time to plan, because it is going to get busier and busier and busier. As more and more people get into the market because the weather's starting to warm up, it is going to be an absolute gong show. So go ahead, book a call. The link is in the description. Now, let's start this off with a little bit of an interesting one. And I just want to showcase how intense this market is. So, out of the last 30 days, so from March 1st, 30 days ago, there has been 792 sales under ask price, which is pretty good. There's a lot of sales that still can be had in this market. There was 223 sales at ask price, meaning that the listing agent or the seller just got what they wanted. And then there was 851 sales over ask price. And if you look at a lot of these numbers here, they sell relatively quickly. I am actively in the market as a buyer's agent as well as a seller's agent, and I can tell you there is a lot of product that goes off the market very fast. So it's very important that you know what exactly you're getting into if you plan on getting in this market in 2024. So let's read what the Calgary Real Estate has to say about this market. If you want to read it on your own, pause the video, skip to the next chapter, or you can listen to my beautiful storytelling. City of Calgary, March 1st, 2023. Again, change your year, Calgary. What's going on? It's 2024. New listings continue to rise in February, reaching 2,700 units. However, the rise in new listings supported further growth in sales, which increased by nearly 23% compared to last year for a total of 2,100 units. The shift in sales and new listings kept the sales to listing ratio exceptionally high at 79%, ensuring inventories remained near historic lows. Low supply and higher sales caused the months of supply to fall to just over 1 month, nearly as tight as levels seen during the spring of last year, which I want to interject and say that spring of last year was a wild market, and I'm assuming it's going to be the exact same this year. Purchasers are acting quickly when new supply comes to the market, preventing inventory growth in this market. It is this strong demand and low supply that continues to drive prices gains in Calgary. The biggest supply challenge is for homes priced under $500,000, and that goes for all property types: apartments, townhouses, semi-detached, and detached, which saw inventories fall by 31% compared to last February. At the same time, we are starting to see supply levels rise for higher priced homes, supporting a more balanced condition in the upper end. In February, the unadjusted detached benchmark price was $585,000. That is actually wrong. It is the total residential, which is $585. That is actually incorrect. And over 2% gain compared to last month, and over 10% higher than levels reported this time last year. Our most affordable district, which is East Calgary, is experiencing the highest year-over-year price growth at 25%, while the relatively better supplied city center has reported the slowest price growth in the city at under 5%. So, a couple things to note here. One, Calgary Real Estate Board needs to proofread what they're doing. They've got the wrong year, and then they've also got the wrong price. They got the wrong property type there. And two, Calgary is very, very active, especially for prices under $500,000. But you're going to see in a chart here that it's actually not the most active, which is crazy. So let's look at this chart here. This chart is absolutely mind-blowing. My jaw dropped when I saw this. I expected to increase for sure. I kind of knew, just based off me being in the market, that it was going to increase, but I did not expect it to absolutely blow past all the gains, all the price points that kind of hit that level last year. So when you look at this, clearly we broke 580 to 585. You can see that the inventory slightly ticked up. It's relatively flat. The sales have obviously picked up, but just look how tight the sales to listing ratio is, the sales to inventory ratio is. It's about as tight as May and June of last year. So you can see that we're probably going to see a crazy increase. If you look at February of last year, look at how much inventory we had left over in the market, and look how much sales were in the market, right? The inventory greatly decreased and the sales increased by a considerable amount. So we're going to assume that Calgary is going to see price increases all year long. So we look at this. This is the total sales. This is just a visualization of what's going on. We actually surpassed 2023 and 2021, but we did not surpass 2022. 2022 was definitely the hottest year on record that I've seen in terms of activity, and we're closely getting up to that point as well. 2022, I do want to remind people that interest rates were like 2%. So when people really started to realize that Calgary was a hotspot with cheap properties, that's when 2022 really struck off. We're going to notice in that second half of the year that the total sales is probably going to slow down for 2022, but pick up in 24, as long as the inventory for 2024 can keep up. So I'm pretty excited to see how that one unfolds. This is the year-to-date new listings. Again, just a visualization. We're kind of on par with the average. We're a little bit below average. We haven't reached those 2015, 16, or 2022 levels. Again, 2022, you can see just an overall super hot year for Calgary. Now, this is an interesting one. This is basically looking at everything kind of condensed. So the total sales volume in the city of Calgary year to date so far is almost 2.2 billion. Last year, we were at 1.5. That's a 46% increase. New listings, we saw an uptick, which we just spoke about. Inventory has dropped by about 13%. Months of supply has greatly decreased. The whole city is at 1 month supply. And I really want people to understand just how hot 1 month of supply is. That means that all new product, or all product currently on the market, will get eaten up within 30 days if no new buyers come to the market. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of new buyers coming on the market. It's a very intense market out there right now. It's very important that you understand a game plan. Sales to new listing ratios. You can see that it was about 70%. Now it's almost 80%, which is a huge increase. The sales to list price is over 100%. Okay, I want people to wrap their head around that. I talk about these things at the beginning of the sales being, the price being below ask and over ask, and this is just contributing to that factor. I'm not trying to build fear. I'm trying to let people know how they need to compete in this market. If you get into the market and you lose out on 4 to 5 to 6 homes, you're going to be very upset. So you need to go in with a plan, and you need to figure out how to win that product when you are looking in a specific community. Days on market has drastically decreased. You can see we went from 37 to 28, which is super fast, less than a month days on market. That means that they get the offer, the pending, and then the possession day is less than a month. It's pretty wild. Benchmark price, median price, average price, we'll touch on those in a moment. So sales by price range year to date, look at the 700 to 1 million price range. Now let's remember there's 3 $100,000 increments that morph this one stat, but you can see that it is still very active. The 300 to 400 is probably the most active, that's the most affordable. You're looking at your apartments, maybe a couple townhouses, but not that many. And then everything else is relatively the same. You can see again, 2022, just refer on that. You can see the green bars is trumping everything. But 2024, I would argue in the second half of the year, we're going to see it get upwards of the same level as 2022. So year to date, so this is the same information broken down into the actual property types. So you can see that the detached, we're not going to jump on in this all, but you can see the detached, the semi, the row, and the apartment, the sales, the new listings, the inventory, the sales to new listing ratios. You can see that row townhouses are seeing the highest sales to new listing ratio, very active market. The months of supply, again, townhouses seeing less than a month. You see 0.8, where the highest is semi-detached, which is 0.37, which is still a very hot market. And then the benchmark price respected to those. I actually skipped out on a, no, I didn't skip out on anything. I reshifted this. Sorry, I just had that thought. So this is a months of supply. This is obviously an indicator of how hot the market is. You can see we're still trending down. We're probably going to stay this low for inventory for quite some time. I don't see a massive influx of inventory coming on this year. Next year, when a lot of these renewals come up from 2020, 2021, I could see an uptick in inventory. So 2024, I would imagine it's going to stay pretty low. 2025, we might see an uptick in inventory, but that will depend. So this is a map. This is a very obvious map. This is total residential for each individual quadrant. You can see that the price points here, if we look at Calgary North at 562, you look at Calgary South 566, pretty similar. You can see Calgary West at 702, and you can see Calgary East at 423. You can see there's some quite some big differences in this city. So it is very important to realize that when you're getting into individual quadrants, you want to see what the market's doing in that quadrant. I would imagine Calgary East is a little bit of a hotter market with things moving faster because it's a lower price point than Calgary West. But then we looked at that other price point where the higher amount of homes are still seeing a lot of inventory between the 7 and a million. So across the city, it's pretty hot. This is the chart here that I thought I skipped. I don't know why I thought that, but this is the total residential, right? You can see that 585, which I called out at the description. The detached is 722, or the total residential is 585. So Crab, if you watch this, which I'd be honored that you do, make sure you do your proofreading. So month over month, you can see that we've increased $12,700 for the total residential. Year over year, 54,000. Detached, we have reached 721, a month over month increase of $19,000. Okay, a year-over-year increase of 84,000. Wild. Semi-detached, 639. You can see it's 14 and 72. Townhouses at 436. You can see a 10 and 69. And then apartments at 329 with a 56 and a 5,600 and a $48,000 increase. So across the entire city, we're seeing massive, massive increases. So you wait till you see what the quadrant breakdown is. Now, this is a written description of each individual property type in the city. I'm not going to touch on this, so go ahead and pause the video. I will say that if you are interested, again, at getting in the market as a buyer or as a seller, investors, I'm sorry, I think you've missed the mark. Buyers and sellers this year, if you're looking at getting into the market, now is the time to start setting up a game plan. Sellers might have it a little bit easier, but it's still very important to go ahead and book a consultation before. So maybe you could do some small renovations. Maybe there's some recommendations that you can do. Maybe you can market it off market so you don't have to deal with the craziness of the market. There's a lot of different options for both buyers and sellers, so it's very important to book a call well in advance. Now, let's start to break this down, okay? So obviously we know that the Calgary real estate market is very busy. This is the months of supply. This is an indicator of how fast the market's moving. You can see that always the city center is the slowest. It's the biggest quadrant, it has the most product. There's a lot of inventory in the city center. But everything else is hovering around 1 month, with quite a few products hovering around half a month. So go ahead, pause the video, go to your quadrant and just see how fast this is moving. Now, I'm going to overlay this in a moment. Now, what I want to say is I touched on sellers already. If you are a seller and you're looking at getting into the market, now is definitely the time to go ahead and book a consultation. Even if it's a virtual consultation, you can still get a general idea of what it is to be expected, especially if you're looking to buy a product. If a seller is looking to move up, move down, or anything in between in the city, it is very important to set up a game plan, because selling your home is very easy. Buying a home can be very difficult. So there's strategies that you want to put in play in making sure that you know what you're going to get into. So I partnered up with a software company here. It is an AI service. It's very slick. You put in your property address. It's me and only me that looks at this. It will spit you out an instant home evaluation. Yes, I'll probably call you, and yes, I've called a lot of people 2 to 3 weeks later. It's pretty busy, but at the same time, go ahead, put it in. It's very useful. You can use it once a month, once every quarter, once a year, and you can kind of watch what is going on with your home. Now, this is the most interesting aspect of this entire video, the microeconomic breakdown of the entire city. I'm going to dive into this in a lot more detail in my property type videos coming in the next week, but we're going to give a high level view, mainly looking at price. I'm going to touch on the other factors in my individual property type videos, but let's look at the price point. The smallest increase in the entire city was 0.64% of semi-detached in Calgary East, where the largest increase dollar-wise was a 4.2% increase in Northwest Calgary. So I'm going to reveal this now. Look at the green all the way down the board. Every single quadrant, every single property type saw some sort of increase, right? So we're seeing in the detached market, city center saw 17,000, north saw 14,000, northwest saw 31, west saw 25, south saw 18, southeast saw 22. Large increases That's in 1 month. That's in a 30-day period, right? Then you can even go down, like the apartments even saw a double digit. Look at the $10,000 increase in Southeast for apartments. Really wild there. You go down to the semi-detached, you got 17 in City Center, you got 10 in Northeast, you got 11 in Northwest, 27 in West, 11 in South, 16 in Southeast. There is just absolute wild roller coasters going all over in this entire city. So it is very, very important to realize that 2024 is going to be very hot. I don't want to bring in fear. I'm not trying to say now is the time to jump in, but it is very important that you plan so that when you're ready 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 months from now, you know what you're getting into. So if we look at this here, you can see that we're just starting to see a little tick up right now. Right? You can see this the first little 2 months of the year. Look at 2022. You can see that in the first half of the year, we saw a crazy increase, but then we saw a decrease because of the high interest rates that were brought in the second half of 2022. I don't know where we're gonna land, but I know that we're most likely going to see increases all throughout the year. So it's very important that you realize that. So if you're waiting 6 months, just be prepared to watch these videos every single month and watch those increases happen. It's very important that you create a game plan. It's very important that you know what you're getting into. It's hectic, it's mind-blowing, and I don't think it's gonna slow down. The GDP just came back, what was it, like a couple days ago. Canada economics are doing better than expected. We actually avoided a recession. Recession is technically 2 quarters of a decline, where we actually saw an increase in Q4. But if you actually break the numbers down, the individuals in Canada are actually getting poorer. So I don't know how fast they're going to reduce the interest rates. I don't know. I've been told March could be a month. I just don't see it happening. I would imagine we're probably going to see some sort of decrease potentially in June. I've seen reports that they're going to slash increases in half within 2 years. I've seen reports where they're going to keep interest rates relatively high to combat some of the other things going on in the market. The interest rate does not only affect the residential real estate market. There's a lot of other things in Canada that the interest rate does get affected by. So it's important to look at the entire picture. And considering that we did see an increase in GDP, I don't know, that's hard to say. Reach out if you want to have a conversation about it. I'm not an economist. I record videos talking about the Calgary real estate market. I've been doing this for a long enough time now where I'm comfortable talking about Calgary real estate. But if you are looking for some economic stuff, I could definitely forward you a couple really good YouTube channels. Just go ahead, put a link in the description, or sorry, put a comment in the video, and I will link a couple of channels that I think are really good. And let's have a conversation, right? Ask questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments below. Thank you very much. I really appreciate everyone who stuck it through. We are about 15 minutes in, so I'm gonna let you go. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.